has its quality. Every day finds its approval. There is no universal day, according to Scripture. For Pamuk, everything is to be looked at, or what Pamuk describes, rather, as part of an Islamic society, is that everything needs to be conforming to a universal that is the will of Allah. And thus in the drawing painting that I described, you paint a picture of a myth on a grain of rice with a brush that consists of one cat whisker, and you do it with such a refined way, so forth and so on, in order to produce the ideal presentation of that myth. And you not only get blind this way, but you also blind yourself so that you are not tempted to copy a particular person, a particular horse, a particular palace of sultan onto that grain of rice. But as it were, the ultimate or the absolute or the absolute ultimate horse, human being, that precisely is what God sees in his totality, whereas we would always see it in part. And our partial viewing makes things recognizable. The trouble that Pamuk describes so well as it came into the Turkish Sultanate in the 16th, 17th century was when Frankish painting came, where portraits were painted. First of all, it was obscene in the Islamic world that you paint a human being. And secondly, that you paint a human being that's recognizable, that is a particular human being. What Pamuk describes in the Islamic context is that you don't paint the particulars, you only paint the universals. Now, what is a universal? A universal, according to, and I didn't go over that last time, a universal, according to Plato, is that memory that we have when we became human beings, when we came to earth, when our soul was placed into a body, a memory we have of something that is everlasting, the same, unchanging, universal. It is that which we have a memory of and faintly see. He uses the picture in the seventh book of the Republic of the cave. We all, as human beings in history, where there are sequences of day, where we only see particulars, are like a prisoner caught in a cave. And we see on the cave wall the faint reflection, the shadow of something beyond that we don't see. The shadow of the universal appears as a particular. Now let me tell you what that means. That when I say chair, what comes to your mind? Well, 1,500 different chairs. In New York, I'm sure there's stores that sell that many varieties of chairs. Well, which one of them is chair? They are a chair. What's the universal of chair? Oh, in this case, my name is Red. What's the universal of red? There's so many varieties. And that is troublesome because they are only particular varieties. And yet we all assume that we understand that a chair is something quite different from a mud puddle. And so therefore, what gives us the idea that there is such a thing as chair that is the base of all the various chairs that we're familiar with, that we can imagine? Well,